There's far too many of you crying. Brother, brother, brother. There's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Father, 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 we don't need to escalate. War's not the answer, but only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. What's going on? What's going on? Hey y'all, greetings, shalom, shalom, peace, peace, salam alaikum, shalom, shalom. I want to talk about something that I feel it's a point of conflict that is occurring in this awakening. Listen, I don't care what anybody says about Kyrie, about Ron Dalton, about the whole subject of Israelites, about Judaism, which is something, Hebrews, we don't practice Judaism. We do not practice Judaism. There is no such thing as Judaism. Here's what I mean. Anything that any man created out of the history and the practices and the covenants of our ancestors, it's non-existent. And you're going to see that soon. Now, I don't care what anyone is saying about this period we're in, and I might add it's a beautiful period because there are some of us who have been praying for this for decades. I'll be 70 years old in 4 years. Okay? This is like heaven to us. Who is us? The Hebrews. Yashrael, or as many of you better can relate to, Israel. This is our prayer come true. And I know you can't get with that if you don't call yourself an Israelite, a Hebrew, a descendant of Abraham via one of the tribes. But this conflict is coming up. I'm seeing people who, they do everything from laugh at the concept to say that it's non-existent. Say that it's black people trying to find some identity or some self-worth or some relevance by finding themselves in the Bible. And it's your right. You can say that. You can say what you want. But one thing you don't have any authority. One subject you don't have any authority in. One thing you have no power to say, even though you can make the sound. You have no power to discuss the validity, the description, the conclusion, and the outcome of the children of Israel, which is Jacob, our father. You have no authority speaking about it. And then I see some of you, you won't even watch Ron Dalton's video for reasons of your own, and that's fine. But you really have nothing more than your opinion, and I say uninformed opinion, and I say if you watch the video, maybe it'll make you more staunch in what you feel you know. Because listening to some of you that have been on here talking about Ron Dalton, and then some people taking the oversight to wade into the whole concept of our historical validity. our bloodline validity. Some of you really should stay away from that subject. You should really stay away from that subject. See, it's like this. I don't talk much about things that I don't ascribe to, things that I don't consider my heritage, things that I consider as simply a label for it's a general categorization of a certain group of people. I don't talk about that. When I could see myself connected to Christianity, I lived probably close to 40 years as an ordained minister. Well, stepping into being ordained, it wasn't all of the 30 years, but 40 years, I'm sorry. But I was into that for real. And the deeper I dug, literally and experientially and socially, I saw that Christianity was a diversion. It was a diversion sent to cloud the issue of who I really am. And I can say we, not generalizing and categorizing all people who are richly melanated. And that's what I want some of you to understand. This is not a debate or I'm going to take you down type message. But this is a message that I'm imploring some of you to, if you're going to comment during this time, because this is a great time for us. This is a great time for us. The books prophesied that this day would come. Joel says, your sons and daughters will prophesy in the streets. This is what is happening now. See, a lot of you think prophecy is somebody telling the future. Prophecy is the word of Ahara. It's the word of the Ruach coming forth. Prophecy could be your grandmother telling you this is what you need to do. But now you have prophets. You have prophets who are as legitimate as Samuel, as legitimate as Nathan, as legitimate as John, commonly known as the Baptist, who are crying out in the streets. And see, your thing is you want them to fit the bill of what you think something should be as it relates to a characterization of something you don't even ascribe to. Here's what I'm saying. There are a lot of you saying they're not Hebrew Israelites. They're not Hebrews because Hebrew Israelite is not really existent, or Hebrew Israelite are these people. And then if someone asks you, are you a Hebrew Israelite? Do you believe this written in the Bible? Do you believe this written in the Apocrypha? Do you study the Sefer Bible? Do you understand the principles put forth in the book of Thomas, the 9 books of Moses? Do you understand what Enoch was saying when he talked about the bull and the goat and they don't describe to it. They call it a fairy tale. But then they're going to come and be an authority on it. You're breaking the law. You're breaking the law. You're setting yourself in a seat where you don't belong. See what you believe in. What you believe about yourself. And I know we're men here. We don't have our feelings on our shoulders and all of that. So we can speak freely. You can speak freely. I can speak freely. How would you feel, though, if I came and looked at all of the artifacts, the history, the literature, the books, and how you studied and how you carry yourself and how you speak, and I don't really consider it my philosophy. I don't consider it my lifestyle. I don't consider it my truth. my reality, my spirituality. But how would you feel if I came and I started speaking like I was an expert on it? And I understood what it was all about, and I could see the holes in it, the illegitimacy of it. You can say what you want, but you wouldn't take too well to that. Believe me. Now, the Hebrew Israelites. I saw a brother make a video about Ron Dalton, and he said Hebrews to Negroes is a negative title. And I can see the literature of that being correct, but the circumstance that we're discussing, the subject matter that we're discussing, and the actual documentary and the claim that the documentary puts forth, that's very inaccurate, because he's not saying we are Negroes. He's saying our experience is and has been, and to many of us still is, and to the world, if they can help it, will always be. Our experience is we were the Hebrews who were reduced to being Negroes. But now, if you don't watch the documentary, you're not privy to the brother's title. And so you come away talking about it, and guess what? It gives people a jaundiced flavor toward the work. And I'll tell you now, I have not seen one of you on social media that is anywhere near this young brother's body of work, especially those of you who don't even prescribe, not to the lifestyle, the claim of lineage. See, that's what a lot of you guys think. I heard a brother says people are calling themselves Hebrew Israelites because they practice Judaism. No, we're calling ourselves Hebrew Israelites because that's what we be by blood. Hebrew is not a nationality. Hebrew is not a race. But now our people were nomadic, and we have been nomadic. And now there were times where we were stationary, and there were times that we were given land. Like, for instance, I heard a brother say the Israelites never had no land. That is not true. That is not true. The Israelites are the only people who can claim voice from the Most High, repositioning them as he created Adam. No. This is a bloodline thing. And see, you really don't do too well when you try to tell people who they are and who they are not. Now, you don't want nobody doing that with you, but you'll do it in a heartbeat. Like there are some Israelites who think when we say Shemite, we are comparing that to Semite, and we're saying that they are saying they are Semites, and we are saying Shemite. I made a video, the proper enunciation or pronunciation, the proper term is Shemite. And I made that video not to say that they are saying they are us, but to say that preoccupation with the term Semite, preoccupation with the fear of speaking against them is not our concern. Shemite is the proper term. Let them have whatever they want. Let them discuss whatever they want, however they want. This is a new day. This is the day we have waited for. This is the day that all of the nations have conspired and are conspiring today. All of the nations, all of the nations, all of the nations have conspired and are conspiring today to keep, and it's in the books. And you know what? The cold thing about it, they know it better than us. Many of us. Many of us. And see, I'm not one of those brothers who calls everybody that is melanated, richly melanated, some lighter than me, some 3 shades, 2 shades darker than me, like my beautiful wife. I'm not calling anyone anything that they don't call themselves. I'm in the land of Ham right now. At best, a cousin of mine, but not a Shemite. And we got to get this thing straight here. This thing with these people coming forth, let me ask you something, other melanated person. You might be Egyptian, which I have no problem with. You might be Cush, Put. Nobody has a problem with that. But why do people have a problem with melanated people, even other melanated people, claiming to be something other than a Christian or a Muslim or an African? Why do people have a problem with people telling you that we are descendants of Shem? Not only does our experience fit it to the T, to the moment, but our insides, which know us better than you know us, is telling us. And look, you can get emotional or you can pull out your knowledge that doesn't really support what we're saying, but has no valid ground for contradicting it. And as a matter of fact, the more our presence comes forth, because this is more than just discovering some knowledge. This is what is inevitably prophesied to evolve and come into fruition and put its hand in the neck of the enemy of man. This is the coming forth of it into fruition. And it's more than facts, which are there. It's more than history, which is there. It's more than documentation, which is there. And all three of those things are irrefutable. You can't deny it. So here's what I'm saying in this brief moment. You watch this continue to go. I promise you, it is going to make every other persuasion about the so-called black man irrelevant. And if you understand prophecy, and if you are aware of spiritual things, I know a lot of you got a lot of head knowledge. You have a lot of head knowledge. Let me tell you about your head knowledge. Your head knowledge is something that will go to sleep in the grave until you resurrect again. What is spiritual never sleeps. As a matter of fact, what is spiritual? Your head knowledge isn't spiritual. Your head knowledge is subject to your finite position while you are in the spirit animating this dust. See, the power of your spirit is animating this dust. Okay? But when the body lays down and all of these faculties take a rest, the spirit is what will remain, and it will reclaim that body and send that body into its destination, its eternal destination. Yeah, y'all, the good old promise of waking up from the dead. But we won't go there because a lot of you don't believe in that either. But you shouldn't comment on things that you don't believe. You should just say, I don't believe it. But when you try to step in as an authority, which a lot of you are doing now, there's a lot of you have no respect for people's bodies of work. As a matter of fact, a lot of you don't respect nothing too much. And you might say, yes, I do. I just don't agree with it. There's a way to agree. There's a way to disagree. And the way some of you put emphasis on what you disagree with, it shows that you're uninformed about what you're talking about. And if you're saying what you say about you, but then you got time to touch on what someone else says about them, even though you don't prescribe to it, you don't see it as relevant, things that are not relevant to you, you shouldn't have any discussion for. Because when you discuss things that you say are irrelevant, it's probably saying that subconsciously those things are more relevant to you than you want to admit. But just saying all that to say, once again, as this thing continues to unfold, thunder in the land of Ham. We got some rich rains and rich sunshine out here. I am telling you, it grows and grows and grows out here. As this continues to unfold, as this fire continues to mount up and rustle and swell and climb, I'll say it again, it's going to make every other persuasion irrelevant. Now, before you take that as an insult to whatever you believe or as an affront to whatever you believe, peep the science. Look at what is happening in front of you. What we have been told all of our lives about the end of time, we're living in it now. Oh, people have always been this, and they've always been. People have never lived in this. The only time people lived in this is you see it recorded in the days of Noah. When the world as it existed was destroyed. It didn't end. It was destroyed. Destroyed does not mean gone. It just means destructured, taken down, disassembled, tore up from the floor up. The world is being destroyed before your very eyes. There's no such thing as yes or no, it's yo. And then it's turning into ness and mess. And no one can tell anyone what is right, because everyone is doing what is right in their own eyes. But there is one who is on high. I didn't say sits on high. He is the on high. And he looks low, to and fro in the earth. And when this thing plays out like he said it would, don't forget you were told. Your ego, your knowledge, your opinion won't matter. As a matter of fact, it doesn't now. Do you see what is happening before your very eyes? The children who were once slaves are standing up, not in defiance of anything. They try to make a defiance, just like some of you. You see this and immediately, some of you calling yourself Israelites, and you see this and immediately it hits you in a way where you say, I'm speaking things that I shouldn't. And when I hear a brother say that, I always want to say, which one of you appeared to me or anyone that you're talking to as the descending dove or spirit or bat even from above and manifested that you are the spirit? And the word that you were given is the word that you should give another man. I have to believe that if I have no place in your life, if I have not committed to feed you, if I have not committed to watch your back and take care of you and be there for you as if you were my own skin, then there's not much I can say to you about your spirit. Because if I do, I'm coming across as not really being concerned. I have an interest that makes me distinctly above you, because I can speak to you and compel you without any obligation to you. And that's what's wrong with the world today. But to my point, this ain't one to be played with. I know a lot of you feel like don't play with the issues, because the issues can bring you. I had one brother say, what they can bring and what they can do and what they're planning on doing and what they're going to do. There are some of us that have lived for the day that we see in Isaiah 14, verse 1, 2, 3. Verse 14. There are some of us whose prayer is in conjunction with our Mashiach, the Christ, as many of you know him. I've heard of him, or whatever you think about him. Come, kingdom, deliver us from evil, for thine is the power and the glory. There are some of you have on you some kind of thought that makes that inflammatory speech toward the issues and the whoever's who always threaten, bully, and intimidate the children. Now, I'm sure my words are offensive to them, but ask yourself, I'm not going to say what it is, but ask yourself, what is that thing in you that makes these words offensive to you? And so you have to start pulling out scenarios. What would make you get on social media and tout brothers who are speaking by their eternal motions? You hear what I said? Eternal motions. What would make you warn those brothers of possible demise? I know, I heard your reasoning, but just think about it. See, I tell you what, maybe some of us do get fired up. Maybe some of us do get churned up and shouldn't say certain things. And if you are wondering if I'm talking to you, I'm approachable. Call me. I'm approachable. Call me. I'm not on here to get clickbaits. I'm not on here to bait people. I'm not on here to monetize a channel. I'm not on here for donations and all that. Brothers who do that, cool. Do it, do it, do it, do it. That is, I'm not here for that. So when you see me say something that may be controversial, or that may stir up something, or that may be in response to something you said that had me like, wait a minute, did I hear that way? I'm not doing what I do for any other reason. Even if I address something that I think I heard, I'm not doing it for any other reason other than to clear everything out of the way. Clear everything that is impeding us and get to this place that we were called to be in, and that nothing is going to stop. And that is the kingdom coming forth in the absence of our oppressors and our enemies. And everything in the book is written. And if they see that as a threat, shame on them and too bad for them. Because if you see the inevitable as a threat, you might keep yourself in a place where you can never repent and you can never recover yourself and you can never escape what is coming for you. This is not the time for any Israelite to be intimidated or afraid. And our first go-to, I'll say it, you may not get with the person, you may not post a video about them, you may not, but I'm going to ask some of you brothers to ask yourself, why are you semi-contentious? And I know there's really no such thing, but I just want to say it in a way where you don't feel like I'm just cutting at you. But why are you semi-contentious toward brothers who speak boldly with fortitude against what has oppressed them all their lives? What is it that does not make you jump with that, regardless of imperfections? And what is that that makes you think that when that comes forth, it's any different than when anything came forth from the other prophets who were not perfect, who did not have people around to approve whether or not what was moving them and caused them to speak came from He who is on high?